Hello everyone, and welcome to a new little video here. So, as some of you may or may not know, I have been kind of making games for the last few years. I forget when exactly I started. Started out with, a simple text-based, kind of like choose your own adventure, using a software called RenPy, which allows you to basically just take the framework of a visual novel, which has the saving, the like progression, all the basic features for the coding, and then all you really have to do is script the dialogue and branching paths and all that stuff. That one I called War of Belrook. It's on Steam. I then tried my hand at using or not using, but using Unity to make another game that I called Slime Evolution, which was my poor little take on a vampire survivors type game where you play a slime and you go around and you eat particular elemental crystals in order to unlock your specific abilities. And from there, if you eat, say, lightning crystals, you get lightning attacks for the oncoming swarms of monsters. And each monster, they drop these monster cores, which give you level ups to unlock stuff. And then you can also get their drops in order to get their axe unlocks, I believe, and all that kind of stuff. Um, that one's not really great. I do not recommend it. So that one is whatever. Then I moved on and I created another game called I'm Just a Slime, which is I think, pretty okay take on a turn-based RPG kind of game where you play as a slime, and the whole premise of that is that there's a dragon who moved into a nearby mountain, and because of that, it's causing a bunch of monsters to like move around and whatnot. And because you're little slimes, you can't really defend yourselves against the larger monsters. And so you, the main character slime, are sent on a journey to defeat the dragon or get them to leave or something like that. And what I really like about that one is you can play it in two different ways, which is you can be passive as the slime, or you can literally eat and devour everything. And the gameplay is quite different, and there are different methods to go about doing that kind of stuff. So I think it's pretty cool. It's on Steam if you want to get that. And then I made a very simple game that is literally just one of those sliding puzzle games, where you like move stuff around, but you're a slime doing it, and I call it Slime Experiments. So what you do is you just move around these like different colored blocks to unlock puzzles and go on to the next experiment and all that good jazz. Uh, the graphics aren't great because I did them mostly myself. I think the only one that I used was the slime from the previous game. I used that one in order to just have the main character be a proper looking slime, right? And then I just used hand drawn assets in literally paint in order to make the rest of the game. So it doesn't look the greatest. It's mostly just like solid colored backgrounds and then the different colored cubes and obstacles and stuff like that. But it's not that bad of a little game. I think it's a nice little puzzle game if you are into those. And then I had started working on various other games. Uh, I have a list of games that I had like been working on and doing things because I get distracted easily and I'm like, well, what if I make this or this or this and that and that and that and yada yada. So I had started to make like the basic like how am I gonna do this kind of stuff for a Metroidvania game, right? Where it's like one of those side scrollers where you go through like different levels and get different upgrades for your character and all that. I really only got down the jumping and the movement for that one. Didn't do much else before I kind of wandered off to other things. I just wanted to get that basic premise down while I was working on another game that I called Gunmancer Isekai, which the premise of that was you are someone who got sent to another world and you have this power to manifest guns in it. And so it's a first person shooter, a Doom like boomer shooter, where you go through levels, killing enemies, and completing guild requests with that to unlock better guns. You start off with like a pistol, then you can get an SMG, assault rifle, rocket launcher, shotgun, that kind of stuff, right? Obviously. Um, and I was making some decent progress on that. It was a kind of pseudo 3D like the old original Dooms were, where it's like it's just like flat walls with like a texture applied to them, right? That kind of stuff. So I had gotten some of that stuff going. And then the unfortunate happened where my hard drive that had all of the files on it got corrupted or crashed or something. I don't know. I just know one day, all of a sudden, my game, not my game, my computer just decided to blue screen and crash, and it would not start back up again. And that was the end of my OS drive, which led me to getting another uh, drive to plug in and reinstall Windows and all that good stuff. Luckily, most of my important files, keynote is most, are on other hard drives. I have a total of 4 hard drives for various things. One of them is basically solely for video games. One of them is solely for like videos like this that I'm going to be uploading that are just kind of waiting there pending. And then I have another one for like music, pictures, and all that fun jazz, right? So that went down. And unfortunately, the files would had all of the coding, all of the built portion of the game for that, they all died because they were on my main drive, not my side drives. So learning from that experience, I went ahead and I got a backup drive that is a like 3 terabyte, or I think it's 4 terabyte actually, like solid state external drive that every day it backs up all of my files from the other drives into that one. All the important ones anyway. Obviously, I'm not going to care about like the games on Steam that are downloaded and stuff like that, right? Because I can just re-download those easy enough. So that's pretty simple. But all the main things that I might not be able to get again very easily or remember that I have are on there. So that's great. Cool. So I told you all of that to say I'm going on a new game development journey, and I've already started to develop it. If you've watched my previous videos where I talk about the games that I want to make or the genres and stuff like that that I was going on and on about, one video I called The Hub. And if you recall that video, it is about basically you have this like hub world that you exist in the beginning, and from there you can just add on other different game types and stuff like that to the hub in order to have like multiple games in one game using like the same character and stuff like that. I thought I would do something similar to that. So I've created this hub world for myself and mixed in some other stuff. So I'm going to show you around there real quick and kind of explain what the game is going to be like. Do keep in mind here, the game has literally been no code has been going into this game. I've literally only gotten some free assets and some assets that I've previously purchased, mixed them together, and made a background and learned a little extra stuff. So right now, all I have is a background, a layout of this town that you'll be put in. And also I did some lighting stuff I'll show you as well because I think it's really cool because I plan to have like a day-night cycle here. So that's just pretty wonderful. But yeah, so I'll kind of show you it, go from there. There's no code. You can't even walk around as the player character at the moment. There's no code tying to him. That'll come next, and then other stuff like that. I still have to do like interiors and stuff, but right now the exteriors are all done. All in all, this took me like 2 days of work, I think, just to get everything and finding all the asset packs that I wanted to use, stuff like that. So fun times. So let's switch over to that. I'll show you what I've been doing. So this is the game world here, essentially, right? So, this is going to be the player's house right here. It's going to have a house. We're going to have a garden out here. Well, it's not going to necessarily be a garden right away. I'm gonna fill it with some like clutter and trash that I still want to get some assets for, or maybe some stuff that I have already. But I'm gonna fill it with some trash and allow you to clean it up. And then once you've cleaned it up, you're able to garden it in order to earn money by selling the plants, and they'll grow over, days of work and stuff like that. So all that, and we have a little alleyway right here where there's just some trash that maybe you can interact with at some point, maybe not. Like I said, I only have the outline here, and then we have these three kind of larger buildings. Now the lore for this game is it is essentially a fantasy world where people have been either summoned, reborn, reincarnated, sent to whatever you want to call it, over and over again, and they've used their knowledge from their previous worlds to basically ramp up the technology of this world. So this world's going to have fantasy elements like an adventurers guild, monsters, different races and stuff like that, but it's also going to have modern technology like cars and tall buildings with like glass windows and modern infrastructure like lights and lamp poles and stuff like that, right? So it's going to look really modern at certain areas, and then other areas are going to be like, oh, they look a little, more fantasy world-ish, right? And stuff like that. So anyway, down here we have some of the AC units, a nice little bench area. We also have an area back here that's, further back from that. More AC units. We got a parking lot for the apartment buildings here. Then we have the main, a little like marketplace here where they sell crops and stuff like that. They sell pots here, flowers here. This one sells magical crystals. There's that little bit of fantasy element. Then I added some, benches and lights here and stuff like that. If we go further to the right, we have just an open tree area here, as you can see. And then we have a castle wall, or a town wall, I suppose you could call it here. And that's kind of what is going on right there. And then over here, you can see where I've not textured anything because, actually, I think you can leave over here. So I actually have to put a couple more walls. So if you look at the colliders here, you can see there's these orange outlines of stuff. And this is stuff you cannot walk through. So all of the basically shop here, which is going to serve as like a quick shop, like a gas station kind of store, where you can pick up like stuff. Like think of it like a Pokemart. Essentially, you can get like minor potions, or you can shop here for like various items that we're going to be using and stuff like that. So anyway, we come up here, and I need to either expand that or seal it off. Probably, yeah, I probably want to actually build more out this way. I completely forgot this area was not sealed in, but we also have a little house up here, just kind of hidden. You can see it kind of has some of the two types of architecture here from two different tile packs, so it kind of doesn't mesh perfectly, but that's kind of the point of the story here, where it has, some modern brickwork, but also has, old techniques of, the wooden beams and stuff like that. So I'm using these fences to kind of create a barrier along with this thing here. But now, as we can see, we can go up here. There's cards traversing the road. They're probably not going to be moving because that would be a lot of work to animate, and I don't know how I would animate them turning because there's only left, right, up, down. There's no like transitional ones, so that would be a bit of a pain there. But up here we have another parking lot, bunch of cars, and then up here we have a nice beach that is completely sealed off, and there's like an invisible barrier up here, so you can't go too far because the water's too deep technically. How it's gonna go, but you can see like seashells and like kelp and seaweed and all that good jazz on the beach here. There's a couple of seats there, so people are just coming up here for the beach. There'll be some beach related things in the game, I think, at some point, and all that. And if we zoom out, you can see it ends up here because you can't get the camera to view out there, so there's no point in making extra stuff there. That's kind of what a lot of this stuff is. I've gotten the camera and been like, okay, how far away can they see, and then just kind of painted in the background so you can use these ones here. If we actually go to the colliders, they are not collision related. It's just these things are collisions. So you can't collide with these. but they're just there for the background anyway, right? So it doesn't matter. So if we come down here, we have a little neighborhood, a nice little residential neighborhood. It's got some streets. It's kind of what you would call a modern, like, suburban area, right? Kind of away from the hustle and bustle of the city. We got some people who have pools. We got a person who farms down here, you can see. I'm using these houses, and there's a nice modular, like, house system where, like, each one can have different windows and stuff like that. So I have some, like, flowers in this one. I have some, like, overhangs on this one, all of that. They each have their own little driveway and stuff too, which is nice. And then over here we have someone who's looks like they're studying or doing something with crystals. This guy has a pool. This guy just has a single tree because he doesn't really care. This one has a couple trees. This person looks like they might be just moving in. They have a bunch of boxes on their lawn that they're waiting to move in there. And we also got some fire hydrants around the city. That's the thing that's kind of around there. And here we have what appears to be a closed off house. These you can't go past, these little blockades. And then there's this house that's all shuttered up, and there's nothing really there, right? Or stuff like that. I plan to add a little more to this for more storytelling type stuff, like adding some blood splatter and stuff around, the doorway and stuff like that to imply like there was a murder here or something, just to kind of give a little bit of flavor to the world, right? Over here, this person does some gardening. This person, it looks like he has a bucket of water here, so I kind of want that to imply he's washing their car. I'll probably put an NPC here and have them say, yeah, I'm just washing my car, yada yada, all that good jazz. And then over here, we have someone with like a nice little picnic table out there. This person has some fruit trees that they're, maintaining and stuff. This person just has a lot of trees in general. This one has a pool, stuff like that, just lying around there. And then down here, this is like the road out of town that's closed off by cones. Couldn't really find a better way to like stop people from going out that way, because out that way is a whole lot of nothing, right? So that's whatever. And then down here we have a sort of more dense town area. With these kind of buildings again, you can see their modular stuff here more, where this one has shutters, this one has shutters and that, this one has that and flowers, that one has closed shutter, open shutter, kind of nice. And some of them have chimneys and stuff too. More parking down here, and then we got more streets going over this way. And then right here, we have a little park and a church. And the entire church was made from tiles that I've commissioned, and I used these in the I'm Just a Slime game for my castle town. That's what these blocks were created for. Same with the like little kind of cream colored tiles behind there. The plants and the benches and stuff like that. That stuff was not stuff that I commissioned personally. So, like I said, it's a nice mix of assets that I got for free online, and then also stuff that I've commissioned and stuff like that. So, yeah, nice little mix of everything here. We move to the left here, or should I say west, and we have a nice little park. Got some, street lights in here, a nice little pond for people to, watch the water or ducks or whatever if they want to. Got a nice little path and some parking here with parking meters and stuff like that, right? And then we're back at the market, and then if we scroll down, we can see a hospital building. Here's like the emergency entrance area where the ambulance can come, and then this is the actual entrance to the hospital here, where you can go in and out. It's got a nice little like overhang area to like protect that area from the rain, like most hospitals kind of do. And then we have a kind of like single floor block here, and then this one is like a second floor or like third floor area in the middle, and then this one kind of goes down. So it kind of forms like a almost H. If I wanted to, I could have gone out a little bit further there, but eh. But I wanted to kind of give the illusion that this middle area is going up higher than the two bottom and top ones, right? And I think I got that accomplished there. So that's all nice. And behind here, we have a couple more metered parking areas here. That can either be for like visitors to the hospital or people who are, going to enjoy this market, stuff like that. We also have a dedicated parking lot with a do not enter sign here that in my head I'm like, yeah, this is just specifically for staff parking, right? For like doctors and nurses and stuff like that and whatnot. And you'll be able to go in the hospital here in order to, get medical supplies or stuff like that, right? And if we come down here, this is going to be our inn, and you can see our player character here. I wanted to get him down for scaling purposes, so you can see he's, you know, kind of there. That's how big he's going to be. And we have our nice little inn, which, because it has no door on it, that means you can go into it. So that'll kind of be the signifier there. So I have a little inn. It's more of a older style inn. Like I said, we're getting down to the older parts of town now, where we have an inn made of wood, but they put a parking lot down here so you can, stay a little while longer if you're from out of town and stuff like that. And then over here, we've got a tavern you can go in and out. We got a couple of benches with some trash cans, and then we have some older little hovels from people. And I like that there's like a new area over here of like completely nicely lined up housing. And over here, it's just like they just put buildings wherever they could go. Like that was kind of what I was going for to make it look like kind of weird. You can also see they have like crates and boxes and trash just left out around their houses, and over here it's just like completely clean and nice and everything, right? And yeah, so down here there's nothing, kind of cuts out. And then if we go to the left further, we'll have the Adventurers Guild, which is a nice stone building, and it just has like a modern roof on it to have AC and ability to like hang clothing up here and stuff like that. I have these nice little uh, banners that are hanging down from here. Fun fact, these banners are actually from the Gunmancer Isekai game I was working on. They were originally going to be used inside the guild, just to like hang down from stuff. Uh, However, they didn't get used because the game died. That's fun. I might remake the Gunmancer Isekai at some point. I could even make it part of the Hub World DLC kind of stuff. Um, and go from there. But yeah, so these are supposed to be completely flat textures, not like isometric like these look or whatever. But as you can see, the guild has a couple floors. I gave it a training area down here. That's nice, I think. Kind of like a dirt area here because a lot of people go in there and train and stuff like that. Over here we have a little newer residential area with like kind of a little park over here, and then we have some more random hovels that people have lived in. And we also have a blacksmith or workshop place that you can go into. And this one particular is going to be owned and ran by my character Plaggy, the goblin character I have. So she's going to be running that and doing stuff like that, and all that. So that's going to be fun. I probably say that a lot. And then you can leave after you are down here. You can go out here to the forest, and as you can see, it ends here. So like right around here-ish, before the camera can see the end of that, what I'll do is I'll put like a transition here that teleports you to another map at some point there. And as you can see, more castle walls. And this time you can see these like arrow slit areas out here so people can shoot arrows out if they need to and stuff like that, right? So that's kind of cool. Moving back up to here, going to the left. So this is just below your house here. We have a huge parking lot and this building, which is going to be a casino. So you'll be able to gamble, play blackjack, slots, roulette, whatever else I decide to code in here. Right now, there's nothing inside or anything identifiable to make it a casino. I had attempted to find a asset pack for like casino type stuff, and I found one. However, the scale of it was just way too big. Compared to my character, you could probably put, I think, like 12 of my character in the roulette wheel. So the scale was just way off on that. I tried to shrink it down, but it just would not work. When I tried to shrink it down, it like separated the pieces a bunch, which was not ideal. I might be able to use it if I, instead of making it like a tile set like this is, if I just make it an actual game object, which I should probably do now that I think about it, and that could be useful for all of that. I also want to commission some artwork to make this more of like a casino, like maybe put like some text over this wall or something that says casino, or put like a giant sign over here that says casino, or something that, you know, will attract customers. Because right now, it doesn't look like a casino. It looks like maybe a school or something. But yeah, I also love like the environmental storytelling of the cars moving around. Like these are just taxis that are waiting to pick people up or drop people off or something like that, right? And I think that's just neat. But yeah, and you can kind of see the clear paths that you would take to drive through here, or you can drive up here through there, because there's like two-way traffic on each side. And go down that way, and then come through here, park on either side there, and then there's just this one route here because I ran out of room to put another side there. So that's kind of neat. Then if we go further down here, we have another older building, and then a nice little. Uh, it's not really uh, normal thing. It's just kind of like a cul-de-sac, you know, not a turntable or whatever the hell those are called. I don't know why I'm blanking on the name of it. Um, but anyway, since there's no other roads, it's just, you know, going around. So the technically the inner like road is wasted here, but the outside is. And I put a little street light up here, enclosed it with fences because I didn't think of anything else I could put around this place. But I could put some residential buildings here and stuff to make it a little bit, you know, have something here. But I kind of like the idea that this place is kept separate, because this, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be our brothel slash strip club of the game. And now I should probably tell you what this game is going to be. So if we scroll out, this game, this map here, is the map for my hub world. However, it's going to be a not safe for work hub world. So do you remember those games you would play? Well, for anyone who's my generation, when you were younger and the internet was new, and people would make these like games where you would like walk around town, talk to characters, um, earn their affection, level up your characters like strength, charisma, charm, that kind of stuff, and then go around and, you know, trade. I don't know, like a yo-yo for a sheet of paper, and then the sheet of paper for a stuffed animal, and stuff like that. Those kind of games, and then you would also be able to, you know, meet characters and fuck them and stuff, and thus came the name Meet and Fuck kind of game, right? And that's kind of what I'm going for this hub world, where you're able to meet my original characters, of which I have like 8, or I think like 10. I forget the exact number that we're going to be using, because some of them cannot be used here just due to their design and nature would not fit the area. Um, so yeah, these would not be good. They will kind of make some cameos as characters that you're not able to have intercourse with, because one of them is literally the daughter of one of the characters, so she is not legal, and you do not want that in the game, because that'll just get shut down immediately, right? So you don't have that, but she will make an appearance. I plan to have my character Sonia, which is the daughter, and then her mother Drea, who is working at the inn. They're just a pair of gals, a single mother and her daughter, who are going to be working at the inn, and you'll be able to put the moves on the mother. So that'll be nice. You can become a stepfather, essentially. All right. But yeah, so kind of like that. And then, like I said, Plaggy the Goblin will be working down here. I'll have some adventurer characters who show up in the guild from time to time. Over at the tavern, you might be able to meet them there. The church, you'll be able to meet some of them, and all that kind of stuff. And they'll just kind of go from place to place. Maybe some of them will be working in the brothel in the night or something like that, right? Who can say? I got some plans for all that kind of stuff. So you'll be able to meet them, talk to them, give them gifts to earn their affection, to unlock more scenes with them, and all of that good jazz, right? So on top of that, um, I have this plan or this idea where each character has their own game associated with them. So far, I really only have a couple of ideas. One of them is incorporating a Metroidvania kind of game, and I might do that with my character Lily, who I have set up as an archer. That way, you can use a bow and arrow in the Metroidvania type game as you're going around doing stuff. For her. However, the one I have most thought out and fleshed out is Plaggy, who's going to be a she's going to be working in the blacksmith workshop area, right? Um, and you're going to be able to talk to her, and she's going to tell you about how she procures her goods and crafts them out in the wild and stuff like that. So it's going to be a one of those like you can create a base, and you'll be able to go from the base to going out to gather resources and kill monsters to get their material and stuff like that when you're talking to Plaggy and all that good jazz, right? So you're gonna be able to do that, and as you do so, you can build more interesting items. And Plaggy has this hobby where she likes to create sex toys. So when you create a new one, you'll be able to have a pixel animation of her using those toys or whatever she creates and all that kind of stuff there, right? And also, if you get defeated by the monsters out in the wilds, there will be a scene with them as well, as she runs away home, and you might lose some of your looted items and stuff. But the way I'm picturing it in the way that it works, so she'll have like a little home area in the woods where at first you'll be going out to the wild to harvest wood and stuff in order to craft your home, right? Once the home's done, you'll be going out to get like ore and other materials to create, um, various other things, right? Um, and stuff like that to kind of like build up the area and stuff like that, and whatnot. So you go out and you'll be given a certain amount of time you can be out there gathering stuff. I might do like a day-night cycle kind of thing, where if it gets too dark, you won't be able to make it back in time, and you'll just be like defeated by monsters, or more monsters will start spawning as the night goes on, that kind of thing. And then you'll get defeated, and if you don't make it back, rippy dippy, you know. So I'll probably do one of those kind of randomly set up areas where it's kind of like randomized every time you go into it, kind of like I want to say like a roguelike, where you go out there, you defeat some stuff, you come back, then you use that stuff to make your character better and stronger, so you can like increase her um, various attributes and stuff like that. But the key part is going to be what I'm going to call a horny meter. Okay, so as Plaguey goes out and does her thing, she'll progressively get horny over time. And at around 50% horny, she'll start to get a little more sluggish and stuff like that, and won't be able to attack as quick and whatnot. And then at 100%, she won't be able to attack at all. So you really have to kind of manage that, and then all that kind of stuff. Then when you get home, it doesn't just go away, but you've got to use some of the toys you've created to alleviate that stat and whatnot. And so as you level up at killing monsters, I think you'll be able to use some attributes in order to change how quickly or how long it takes for you to get horny. So I think there's like a branching path there. At one point, you can like increase the length so you can be out there longer without needing to relieve yourself, or you can shorten it so it happens more often, right? I think that'll be interesting to kind of see what people do with that. Regardless, that's kind of the idea for her at the moment. So there's still some ideas to iron out there and everything in order to go with that. But it's kind of the idea I'm working on right now. I'm in the process of talking to an artist to get the sprites for her idle, movement, attacking, all that kind of jazz. I plan on having her in a sweater dress kind of outfit when she's at home and just kind of like in town here and whatnot. And when she's at the workshop or fighting monsters, she'll be in these like overalls, kind of more of a work outfit, and she'll be swinging around a giant hammer, kind of weapon to do so. So that's kind of the idea for that. But man, getting all the animations and sprites and stuff is going to be a huge pain, and I'll get to that later. But for right now, there's one more thing I want to show you guys, and that is if we go over here, I had to go touch some stuff, and Unity's weird about that. So anyway, I've turned on, as you can see, the lights. So I've added lights for basically everything here, and I think I've actually forgotten to add... Oh no, I did not forget to add lights here. That's for a different reason, which I'll get into when I explain the lights. So I've added some lights in here in order to give us the ability to have a day-night cycle. So during the day, or noon, I should say, there won't be any lights on. The cars won't have lights. The street lights won't be on because it's daylight. You don't need them. However, if we then come over to our light 2G object, which you guys can't see, but that's fine, I'm going to change the intensity down to 0.5. And if we look back over here, you can see it's a little bit darker now. I'm going to use this as kind of like a morning type, or maybe I'll do 0.75 instead. So it's a little bit, brighter out. And when it's this time, I'm going to go ahead and take these, and I'm going to turn them off. So during the morning hours, I think what I want to do is just have the car lights on. The street lights and everything else will be turned off. But the cars will still have their lights on because it's a little bit dark. They want to be able to see where they're going, that kind of stuff, right? However, the real fun comes during the night. So if we go 0.1 and look back over here, we can see it's a lot darker. And if I turn back on the other lights, you can see a little bit better here, right? You can have the nice illumination from church windows. I made the church windows a little bit more like white light rather than these ones which are all yellow. The street lights give a little bit more off here. If we come to some of these houses, these crystals all have a little bit of a faint glow to them. The houses, some of them are on, some of them are off because, people have different schedules. Sometimes they're sleeping, and they won't have anything, light-wise, or maybe they're just not home, so they don't have lights. Other people are like, their whole house is lit up. Some have a couple houses there and whatever, and you can see all the street lights like that, and also the traffic lights. Now, I'm not going to make it so the traffic lights change, because that would be a bit of a pain in the butt to deal with. However, I will have like the green ones lit up green and they're red and stuff like that. And all the traffic lights are here. Also, don't tell anyone, but I forgot to put a traffic light going up and down here for this section. So that's just not going to exist, okay? We're going to let this be a wild intersection with that, okay? It'll be up to the driver coming down here to determine whether or not he should go or stop. It's still a fantasy world after all. You gotta throw some RNG in there, right? So anyway, all the cars have it. All the street lights have it. Traffic lights have it. These homes have it. Any that you can go in and out have a little bit of a nice, healthy glow around the doorway. Stuff like that, right? Because the tavern, obviously, where people drink and have fun during the night, so there's going to be open there and all that. And then if we come over to the hospital, you can see it has the emergency lighting on here for implying that there's a helicopter that can land on the roof. And then, of course, we have the hospital entryway here, which is lit up, which, actually, looking at that, where is that light? Is it a large window light? There it is, right there. I'm actually going to edit this one because I thought I edited this so it was not so, like, here we go. So I changed it from being like it spreads light that way, which doesn't make much sense, to it does like a half thingy here. Uh, that's kind of how I did the rest of these as well, like this, you know. But anyway, we have all of these here and whatnot, and yeah, fun times. Okay, so that's kind of all I wanted to show you there. But there is a day-night cycle in the game, so um, that's going to be fun because when the day comes, or the night comes, or morning comes, the characters are going to be in different locations depending upon their job. I can actually pull up my notes on this and kind of give you guys a couple examples here. So, Plaggy, for example, the goblin blacksmith I've been talking about, in the morning she'll be in her workshop selling people stuff and doing stuff like that. At noon, she'll be at the beach, just kind of chilling and relaxing. And then at the night, she's going to be in just like an alley somewhere, stuff like that. So that'll be cool. And then I mentioned my character Lily. For her, she'll be in the store in the morning. She'll be at the guild at noon. And I think I'll put her back at the store at the night, right? And then, so Estrella, the single mother I mentioned, the idea for her is she's going to start the morning in the inn to, cook people breakfast and to check new people in and to do all that fun inn stuff that you got to do, like cleaning the rooms after the guests leave and stuff like that. But at noon, she's going to switch to another job and she's going to be at the casino where she will, be, I don't know, a dealer, or maybe she'll just be serving drinks on like a platter or something like that. Stuff like that. And then at night, I plan to throw her into the brothel, and that will be cool. There's a couple of characters who go into the brothel, and I think the brothel is only going to be open at night, so that'll be another little interesting area to do there. There's also a character that I have planned where you'll be using some other there's going to be currency in the game, and you're going to be able to earn it through various things. Like once the casino is implemented, you'll be able to go to the casino and do stuff there, right? Uh, However, there's this robot character that I have, um, which you could call, I guess, a golem in this world, since it's a fantasy golem robot mixed together, kind of stuff like that. And you'll be able to basically buy her online because she's just a robot that is manufactured, right? And her morning and noon well, actually, all of her locations after you purchase her, she'll be at your home, right? So you can do whatever you want with her, talk to her there, assign her tasks or something. I haven't really fleshed out that idea that I'm going to do for her. However, you can also, for her night location, assign her to the brothel where she will work, and then you can get money for it, right? Just a little bit another way to make money. So I think that'll be a cool little thing to implement there, and all that. So yeah, so the people will have different things. I'm not fully cemented on where they're going to be. Like, for example, throwing Lily from store guild to store, that doesn't make much sense. And then Streya's daughter, Sonia, she's going to be at the inn both morning and noon. And then at night, she's not going to be anywhere because she's sleeping, as good kids do, right? So that's kind of what all of that is going to be. So I don't know if maybe some people are going to just not show up. Some people are going to just be there during certain times, stuff like that. And then the way that you transition from noon to morning to night is basically to go back to your home, and you can either use your bed to transition to whatever time you want, or if you use your computer, you'll be able to like skip just to the next one rather than skipping to anyone you want, right? So that'll be kind of what happens there. Also, for growing plants, I plan to implement a little thing in here where you're not able to just like sleep until they're grown. I'll probably put like a little bit of a timer on them, and if not enough time has passed between you trying to like sleep and them going there, that'll be just not allowed. Because that way you can't just like cheese the game and just sleep over and over in order to make plants grow and earn infinite money. So, yeah. If you look at the game scene here, I said the game scene. This is kind of what the camera sees right now, right here. Can't see the character and all that. I don't know why I showed that. That's actually stupid. Let me go back to the lighting and switch it back to 1. And then I'm going to go ahead and turn off the lights because those just kind of get in the way. But anyway, I've been mentioning ways to earn money and stuff like that. I do want to have a money system in the game. Obviously, you need money to gamble and stuff like that, but you'll also need money to go to the brothels, all that good jazz, right? However, you'll also need money to, say, go to the store to buy gifts for the characters. You'll need money to, well, do various other things, like buying the robot girl, for example. And I noticed I missed a little bit of stuff there on the side, so I decided to do that real quick. Anyway, all that good jazz, right? And for various other things, right? I don't know what else I'm going to be letting you do with the money and currency in the game yet, but that'll be there. So the very base of the game is basically going to be you going around talking to the girls, doing stuff. You'll basically do a visual novel kind of style where I'll pop a image of them up on the screen when you're talking to them. You can see their reactions, just kind of flirt with them and stuff like that. And go from there, right? I also plan to implement just on your home computer a solitaire game, which will have, I don't know if it's going to be every single card has a image of one of the characters on them, or if it's going to be the king, queen, jack, ace that will have a character on them or something. I don't know. It gets expensive to get artwork made for that kind of stuff, which is why I'm using a bunch of free asset packs that people have, already uploaded, like the town thing here and all that. Because sure, I can, commission someone to make, this kind of tile set and whatnot, or make like animations and stuff. But hey, it's like anywhere between 40 to like $200 for a single animation, depending upon the resolution, the style, what's going on in it, how complicated it is. And that's for one animation. That's not like idle and running and jumping and anything else I want them to do. That's for like idle only. And then it's another like $40 to $200 for a running animation. And if you want to go up and down, that's 2 more animations you got to have there. So it really adds up. And then all the other art that I'm going to probably have for like the cards, for example, depending upon the artist you want, the quality you want, and all that kind of stuff, it of course goes up as well. So there's going to be like, I think for the cards, I can find like a cheaper artist to do. So someone who's maybe like $20 to $40 per image. But if you can take in consideration the fact that a deck of cards has 52 cards, and we times that by 20, that's still $1,000 right there to get every single card with a character on it, right? So that's a lot. And hey, like I said, I have like 10 characters, right? But if I want each character to have their own unique suit, right? So instead of like hearts, diamond, spade, club, right? I want them to have a Straya suit or a Lily suit or whatever, right? That's going to be 10 times 52 times the minimum $20 amount. That's $10,000 right there. Just to get all those character cards created. That's a lot of freaking money. So we're definitely not going to be doing that right away. I would feel comfortable doing the $1,000 for a deck of cards to be completely done, but man, 10,000 is a little bit much, especially for a game that you might not even release or get money on. Like that, because my other games haven't done very well. Then again, I haven't really advertised them anywhere or anything like that, so people probably haven't seen them. Some of them aren't that great anyway, but I digress. it's expensive to make a game, right? And I also plan to, when you're like flirting with the girls and talking to them, you unlock these CG scenes, which are also going to be pretty good. And those ones, they'll probably range from, being 60 to 100, $250, you know, just a lot of amounts. So that's all going to be in there. So, yeah, there's going to be a lot of stuff going on in the game, and it's going to be really expensive to do all of it. Which, hey, I get artwork of my characters anyway. So I figure I just say, hey, artist, do you mind if I were to include this artwork in my game? Do you allow that kind of thing? And if they say yes, then perfect. If they say no, then that's okay. If they charge an additional fee, which some artists are like, yeah, it's just a flat 10% extra fee, or some are like, yeah, just like $10 extra. Other times it's like, yep, I need like double the amount of money of a normal commission in order to have you actually oh, that's weird. I need like double the commission money in order to allow you to commercially use these assets and stuff like that. Which is why these free assets are very huge, because that means I have to spend less money on doing all that kind of stuff. Because I think, and I don't remember the exact amount, but I think the tile set for this thing, which if I go over to here, will it show? Yeah, okay, so this is the tile palettes. So I have this town outside tile palette, which is well, let's turn off the grid. It might be easier for you guys to see. So we have all these cobblestones. We have these floorings that are cobble. We have a wood flooring. We have all the castle walls, all the flowers, a bench, which is way too large for what I want to use right now. We have these wooden shades here. Oops. We have the roofing. We have the cobblestone walls and stuff. And we have all these little signages and stuff down here. All of this, I want to say, I don't remember. It was either like 40 to $100 for this stuff, right? Which is why I've been reusing so many of them and whatnot, because getting extra ones done is just so expensive, especially when you don't have the money for it, right? And especially when you don't know if the game's gonna actually be successful or if you're gonna release it. Because at this time, I'm not entirely sure if I'm gonna release this game or not, right? Maybe it's just something that I make for me, that I just have fun with. As they say, make a game that you want to play, which is what I'm doing, which is why I have decided to incorporate so many things into it. But if I do release the game, right, this is an if I release the game, what it's going to be is it's going to start out as a hub world, like I said, with the meet and fuck mechanics, where you can meet the characters, do stuff with them, and there might be some updates where I update, hey, added a new chain of dialogue and a new picture for one of the characters if you get a certain affinity and whatnot, and you can keep like there'll be like a photo book section at your home that you can go to look at the various pictures that you have gotten from each character and stuff, and all that. And um the game will also release with some games on your personal computer at home, such as Solitaire. Like I said, with some of the character pictures on it, or it might just be normal playing cards if I can't afford the character things right away. I don't know. I'll probably not release the game until I get that done, though. And then I also want to make a game like Minesweeper, except it's adult themed. So that'll be interesting. Look forward to that if it ever releases. That'll be in here by default. And I'm not sure if there's anything else I want to add into like your computer to just play. I don't know what else I could like adapt to have like my character artwork or be like adult themed and fit kind of like your main character's a horny guy who just does horny stuff, like hook up with these characters kind of thing, right? Um, yeah, but one more thing I was thinking about adding into the game. I don't know if it would be like this is part of the base game to earn money, or if it's like, hey, this is a DLC that adds all these different jobs you can do to make money. So I was thinking, we could have you be like waste disposal person who goes around and like picks up trash that whenever you start the job, it like spawns a bunch of random garbage all over the city, and you just have to find that garbage, collect it, and then you'll get a little bit of money, right? Another one, you could be going to the store here, and I can make a little mini game where all you do is for like 10, 15 minutes, you just put items into a bag and then wait for the next customer and then do that over and over again, making some real tedious stuff. Um, those jobs that I'm talking about will be really tedious because that's the point of them. They're basically free money if you just do a stupid little game, right? So you're not going to make much money from them. They're going to be tedious and boring and kind of suck. I was thinking originally what I would do is force you to do an 8-hour shift of them in order to make any money. And by 8-hour shift, I mean real world 8-hour shift. So if you want to make money, you would have to, at least in 1 hour increments, go around collecting trash, bag groceries at the grocery store, stuff like that, right? But I was like, that's a little too crazy, right? Like, I want to mess with the player, but not like make them hate their lives, right? So I figured we can dial it back a little bit to make it a little nicer, right? They'll still be making barely anything from these jobs. Uh, but yeah, we'll do that. I was thinking we could also, in the computer, maybe add like stocks or something, but I want to make them like very mean stocks where most of the time they lose money and sometimes they gain money, stuff like that, right? I don't know. We'll see. But there's ideas out there floating around. That's all you need to say. And like I said, I think each character I can throw into it and have like unique uh, stories and progression, stuff like that, right? Because if we look at my characters, which you can't see, but I can see, I have, let me count this real quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have a freaking Excel sheet. Why am I counting when I can just look at the number? So I have 14 characters that are going to be included. 2 of those will not be included due to their age. Like, for example, Streya's daughter Sonya won't be included in like adult stuff, but they'll still be in the game doing various things. You can talk to them and they'll tell you various things, and there might be a mini game associated with them to do some stuff. Um, right. So that leaves 12 characters that you're going to be able to like romance and do stuff with and all that. And some of them, 2 of them specifically, um, other than the robot girl, you have to do something specific before they even spawn. So that'll be interesting, right? It gives you like something to do in the game, something to aim for. All these characters doing different things. So I'll have to come up with like 12 different little mini games that I can do for each of the characters, kind of like Plaggy's home creation and roguelite stuff like that. And I plan to add each character's like unique game as a DLC to the game because, as I said, it does cost a lot of money to get the assets for them. So even like Plaggy doing her stuff, which is I actually have the animation list over here of what I want her to do. I need her animation. Okay, so for this one, the animations that I absolutely need are an idle, a running to the side, and then attacking with a hammer and attacking with a claw. So the hammer will be used for fighting enemies, the claw will be used for harvesting trees and stuff like that, right? And all that good jazz. And then I plan to have her idle and running animations. They'll be in the sweater dress outfit and the overall outfit, so that's 2 more additional ones. The attacking ones will only be when she's in the overalls, so that's fine. And then I'll have her get an animation where she's interacting with something. And then there's the ones of her using the toys that she creates, right? And some of them will be in the sweater dress version. Some of them will be where she's just not in anything. All that good jazz. And then there's, of course, her with the monsters, which because there's an addition of another character, which is a monster or something, that'll be a lot more expensive than the base ones. There might be some different parts of those loops there for the monster interaction ones to like speed things up or to climax, all that good jazz, right? And then for the cherry on top, of the extra stuff. If I want it to be a really like detailed game, rather than just having left and right movement, I want up and down movement, up and down attacking with both of the claw and hammer parts of the weapon. That's 6 more animations, right? So that's a total of what, 6, 13, 14, 15. We got 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. That's 26 separate animations, and that's without taking into consideration the overall and dress ones that are going to be um, duplicates of some of them. So from like, what did I just say, 26, and then each one of those from the artist I'm talking about is going to be like $40. And that's the minimum, right? $40 is the minimum for the resolution I want to get from them and all of that. However, there's going to be some more details, such as the monster related ones. Those are going to be more, and then all that good jazz, right? And whatnot. So it's going to be over $1,000 for all these animations, right? Um, just for that. And there's probably more stuff that I want to add later, but this is just the stuff that I thought of within like a day that I wanted to get added, right? So there's all that. So we're probably looking at around 2,000, I would say, in total for her animations. Just being generous and doubling it. Oh, right, because it's going to be 2,000 regardless if I ever release the game, because this artist that charges $40 for a animation has the 100+% commercial use fee. So rather than $40 to get the animation, it's going to cost me $80 to get the animations. So it'll be $2,000, not $1,000 for all of that. Right now, I am working out a deal with them where I will pay 50% additional, so $60 to get these. Because, like I said, I told them I wasn't sure if I was ever going to release this game, but that if I did release the game, would I be able to pay you later for the commercial rights to it? And they were like, yeah, we'll just do like half the commercial payment first, and then I'll be able to charge you the rest later. And I was like, sounds good. Let's do that. That's what worked out. Yeah. But yeah, so a lot going on. Like I said, the game is in very, very early access. Uh, or not access, early development. I have not done much with it other than plan some stuff out. Which scene am I going to? There we go. Sorry. I haven't done much with it other than create the background, type up some lore and what I need and ideas and thought and stuff, which I'm really good at doing. Now comes the coding part, creating the interiors for cities and all that kind of stuff. And whenever I think I have some decent amount of stuff to show you guys, maybe when I have finished the interiors for the main buildings and stuff, I'll show you guys what they look like. If we get the plaggy sprites, I can show you what those look like, at least the ones that are safe for work. We can go from there. But yeah, so I can kind of provide updates here and there on this game that I am making. And if it turns out cool, cool. If not, meh. If we don't release it, we don't release it, you know? That's just kind of how stuff goes. But if you would like to contribute to the game or anything like that, or if you just like the content that I create here on the channel and would like to give me some, you know, tips or money, I do have a Ko-fi link that I just created for this, so you can provide me extra money to get access and stuff. So the link to that, the Ko-fi, is in the description of this video. You can go ahead and go there, give any amount you want. You could do a monthly or a one-time thing, apparently. I don't know, I just set it up. But if you're interested in that, feel free to do so. Do keep in mind, like I said, I don't know if these games will ever come out. This is just throwing money at the wind. You might not get anything or be able to buy the game ever. But as long as I'm creating the game, I will continue to show updates on it here on my channel and Be like, hey guys, check out this cool interior that I made for all these buildings, or check out these cool animations that I got that I can share you. Unfortunately, I won't be able to share the not safe for work ones. However, if you do want to see the not safe for work variants, you can go to my Blue Sky, which it's on my Ko-Fi, but it's also just Plagen Shiki over there on Blue Sky. It's just plagenshiki.bluesky.social over there. You can find me there, and I not only post about the game and other stuff, but sometimes I do 3D prints, and I'll take pictures of the finished 3D print and painting that I've created. All the 3D prints, by the way, the 3D models were not made by me. They were made by other people who I got the download file from, and I posed them, or I got the pre-posed character, and I just printed it out, and then painted it roughly. Not good painting. They're not good quality prints because I'm using a PLA printer on probably some bad settings. They're kind of rough, and I'm not like filing them down or sanding them down or like making them not look sketchy, right? Because I do not have the patience to do that or the equipment, quite frankly. But if you do want to see any of that stuff, go ahead and take a look at that. I don't post very frequently. In fact, it's been 2 months since I've posted anything 3D printed because, hey, I realized that when you 3D print stuff, it releases like toxic fumes because obviously you're melting plastic. And I was doing that in an enclosed space, and I was like, I should probably stop doing that for my health. So I might not be 3D printing for a while, until I can get my own house where I can install ventilation, or at least has better ventilation and stuff, right? Um, but yeah, so follow me on there. I sometimes write comments about games or shows that I'm watching and stuff like that. But yeah, thank you for watching this video. I feel like I said a lot of worthless things like the and then yeah, like that kind of stuff. You know, just the stupid filler language because I didn't script this out or plan it out at all. I was just going in it and all that. But anyway, like I said, follow me on Blue Sky if you want to see any of that stuff or the not safe for work updates or all that. If you want to contribute to some of the assets that I'll be buying for the game, feel free. Like I said, donate on Ko-Fi. But hey, remember, big note here, the game might not ever be released, especially if I lose motivation, which is very possible to happen, right? Like I said, I've started a couple of games and been like, I'll just throw you to the side now. I got a better idea now. However, this time it involves not safe for work stuff. So I might actually be really into making this game because, hey, here's the thing. I commission a lot of not safe for work art to begin with. So if I can just get it and incorporate it into my game anyway, why not? Right? So who knows? Who knows? But anyway, thank you all for watching, and until next time, bye for now.